Hello everyone, this is Betsy from Ideas Times 2. Welcome to our channel, or welcome back to our channel if you have been a subscriber for a while. We are very appreciative of our subbies and very excited to have you join us today. So today I have just made a sewing journal. One of my favorite themes is sewing journal, or strawberries I think is also one of my very favorites. So I just got finished with this soft cover sewing journal, and so I have all my sewing stuff out. Now this is not listed in our Etsy shop yet, but it will be listed very soon. I have a tutorial on this cover, so I will link that down below. But I just want to show you that, hey, I've been working on sewing journals. I have so much sewing ephemera that I collected. And just real quick, let me show you how I store it. I have a 2-gallon Ziploc bag, and I put leftover digital pages. I even have like a signature from a journal that was too fat, and so I couldn't get all the pages in it. I've got several pages like that. I've got old vintage sewing books, Rick Rack, ribbon. And as you can see, these are mostly like papers, but you can't really see the pattern on the papers, but scrapbooking papers. So anything that's related to sewing, I usually store in a bag like this. Even rubber stamps, washi tape, that type of thing. So I have it all in one place, and when I get in the mood for making a sewing journal, I'll just pull out this bag. So what I do is I pop them into a bin, and they're all upright like this. So I could have, sewing theme, horse theme, Christmas theme, and that kind of thing. Very easy to find all my stuff that way. That's just a little thing that I do. I think it's very helpful for me anyway, and for the storage that I have. So anyway, I haven't made a sewing pattern journal yet, but I am going to do that. So this is where I keep, in my 2-gallon Ziploc bag, I keep these types of things as well that I will use for either a tag, a decoration, but really I want to make a journal out of a pattern envelope is what I want to do. Look at this one. Oh, look at how pretty that is. That is postmarked. This is an actual envelope that the pattern came in to somebody in Cincinnati. That's where I live, and I found it at the antique mall, and it is dated 1970. Although looking at this, I would have put it as maybe in the 60s, but that just goes to show you I don't know as much as I think I know sometimes. But anyway, just everything about this envelope is so cool. Like the stamped, what do you call that? Anyway, so that, and then this illustration, even the little address label, it's just also super cute. All right, so this was the actual pattern that came inside of it. Isn't that beautiful? Stunning, stunning. So anyway, love. So I am going to, since I have all my sewing stuff out, I just finished that one journal, I am going to do this. But I decided to start on a smaller scale. I've been wanting to do these as well. I bought some vintage seed packets. I think they're super cute. They would make cute envelopes or pockets or tucks or that kind of thing. But I thought also I would try making a journal cover out of it. And so this is going to be a little small chunky type journal. So these are, well, you guys probably know kind of how big a seed packet is, but it's 4.5 by about 3 1/4. So it's going to be super fun. So I started out kind of with an idea in my head, and so I'm going to make this with you today, and this will be the exact same method I use for these when I get around to doing these. But for now, I'm just going to start on this small scale and do it like this. And by the way, I mean, there are just so many different ways this can be done. Whatever method you think is best, go for that. When I get around to doing these, I have probably 4 pattern envelopes, and so who knows, I might even do each one of these differently than the previous one. So but so we'll see about that. But for now, we're just gonna do a little seed packet. I think it'll be super fun. Okay, so I did find some stuff already so that you wouldn't have to watch me decide on all this stuff. My plan. Okay, so my plan is I've already backed these with file folder. Okay, and I used a gel medium, and this one I happen to be using is Dina Wakley's Media Gel Medium. So it's a soft gel, and you apply it with, I guess, your finger or a paintbrush or something like that. I usually just use my finger. It's a very wet, you know, there are different brands. That's actually varnish. I'm not going to show you that. There are different brands. I've never tried Tim Holtz. I don't think I have, but there's Mod Podge, right? Everybody probably knows about Mod Podge. So that's what I used. And the reason why is because I feel like the paper is more fragile, and it needs sort of an even coating of something on the back. Now, since these matte mediums, some of them can be quite runny and watery, that might make it difficult, but this is the sort of the gel form, and it wasn't too bad at all. In fact, it hardly warped the file folder at all. Can you see that? It's not bad. In fact, as if I just go like this, it's going to straighten itself out, or possibly iron it on the back. All right, so I just literally just glued that with matte medium onto file folder, both the front and the back of the seed packet. So then I thought, well, I also need a spine, obviously, and I could do like a separate spine, you know, and put that here and do it like that. But I also wanted just a tad bit more structure to this. So what I'm going to do is use this as a base. This is also file folder. And I will be gluing this. Well, let's just turn it over. I'm going to glue this here and this here. Try to get it the right side up. And then this will be my spine. And then what I'm going to do is cover it up with fabric. And this fabric is a little thin, so I'm going to put a tiny piece of interfacing on it. And then I'm going to glue that down there. So I will be stitching too as I go along. And then on the inside, after that's all done, the inside I'm going to, well, before I glue anything down, I'm going to score here so that this cover will fold nicely and it'll be sort of a rounded spine. And then to give that spine more structure, I'm going to put some Tyvek in here. And I didn't know if these, I don't think these words are going to show at all, but if they do, I just brought some acrylic paint over here just in case I need to like wipe off, or not wipe off, but cover up these words. And I did sort of plan on this being the cover to that spine, like that. So then it also begs the question of what to put on here, so I might try to find some decorative paper for that. So that's my plan. That's my plan, and I think it'll give us a nice sturdy little cover, and then just to fill it with all kinds of fun things. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I've actually tried. I've had these for a while, so this will be so fun to get going on that. Actually, so what I did, I saved carrot seeds. Now it's kind of late to be planting, right? But hilarious. I know it's probably not going to work. I'll let you know if it does, but I'm going to plant these carrot seeds and see what happens. You never know, right? I know it's not ancient Egypt here in Cincinnati, but who knows? Those seeds might work. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is find the center of this and then score. What I'm going to do real quick is just pencil this in. Find a pencil. I have one over here. And then so I know how wide my spine is. And then I'll score between, get this right, between these lines so that it bends easily without a sharp fold. Okay, so then I'm going to get my scoring tool. For the life of me, I cannot find my scoring tool from there, but I do have a different one. So all I'm doing is lining up. If you don't have a score tool, just use a ruler and like a kind of a blunt object to just kind of put some lines in here. But what I'm going to do is just line up my lines with any groove and then just go down and then keep going, just the 1/8 increments all the way down. See of mine. But see, so there you have a nice kind of rounded, it's already getting its little shape there, and yet this will be reinforced a little bit, so it still could obviously bend, right, fold, I mean, in half, so we don't want that, but these little reinforcements that we're doing is going to help with that a lot. Okay, so now I just have to decide. So what I'm gonna go ahead and call this the inside cover because it's folding like that naturally. So then this gets glued on the outside of here. What I'm gonna do is just, I tried to cut these straight, but they may not be totally straight. So what I'm gonna do is glue it on and then trim, I think is what I'll do. This goes here. Yeah, this one is shorter than this one. So no problem. I'm just gonna glue these on and then just give it a trim. For this, I'm gonna use Fabri-Tac is what I have. You may have a different favorite glue, and that's perfectly fine too. I do prefer this for paper. It does not warp paper at all. It's acetone based, not water based. Make sure to get to the edges really well. If you don't and you come back later and you see a little gap, it's real easy just to like poke a tiny bit of glue in there. Also, if you like the look of sewing as I do, then you will be sewing around the outside edge, so it might not matter either as far as catching the edge 100%. So now I'm just lining up. Set that down. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, before I reinforce this spine here, I decided on this fabric. I don't know what you think about that. I think it's good. It's kind of not what I had in mind or anything, but when I went through my orange bin, I'm a sewist as well, and I have a bin with orange fabric, and I'm like, well, orange would be really cute, like a gingham or something. And this one really kind of jumped out at me. I'm looking at it through the camera, and I'm still kind of on the fence. I might take another gander into my bin, but anyway, what I started to say is next I'm going to go ahead and sew around the edges here. And so I think then what I'm going to do is put my decorative paper on here as well before I sew, so that way it'll show on this side too. So I'm going to be back with some decorative paper I'm just going to go ahead and glue that into 2 pieces right here and here. Leave that spine alone because we've got some separate things for that. But yeah, I will be back. Okay, all sewn around, and I did find some paper for the inside. It's this orange stripe. It's kind of a pumpkin color. Goes really well with those carrots, so I thought that was fun. And so I just stitched around the outside edge after I glued the papers on. All right, so now I did look at my orange fabrics, and I cannot find anything that was making me, that just really like screamed at me, and this one more so than the others, I guess. So I am going to glue this on, and I think I'm going to need this interfacing because I wasn't too happy with the way that dark purple edge of that pattern or the cover shows through there. So to make this a little thicker, I'm just gonna, this is iron-on interfacing, and it's just very lightweight. Doesn't have to be anything specific, or if you have just like a white fabric or muslin or something like that, it might be a good idea, depending on, you know, what you want. But for me, I just wanted a little bit more thickness on here so that these edges don't show through the fabric. Also, it makes it easier for gluing, because the next thing is for me to glue this on after I get this unit done. But what I'm going to do before, I'm going to iron this on. It's fusible, as I mentioned, so I'm going to iron that on, and then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and stitch around this rectangle. Alrighty, so I ironed the interfacing on and stitched around the outside edge on that. So now I am ready to glue this on, and this is a little bit bigger than my cover. I kind of like that little raggedy look at the top and bottom. I might decide to trim it. It is a little bit big, but we'll see. We'll see. I might like it just fine. So this fabric, it brings a different texture, and I like that. It also strengthens this spine, and it's very flexible, so it's a win-win for me when it comes to putting fabric on spines. I really enjoy that, especially for like a simple type binding that we're doing here. Okay, and then try to center that side to side, top to bottom, and see what we get. Might need to adjust. All right, pretty good. Like I said, it is a little bit long up here. And then I'm just gonna ravel it a little bit up there. And kind of catch a few of those little places I missed, or that dried too quickly for me. Okay. Always the corners. Always the corners with me. See? See what I mean? There we go. All done. I did cut this down just a little bit. Thought it was a little coming over a little bit too far. You can also see on here some shiny parts, and I'm not real sure. I think that might be from the matte medium, the gel medium. So, and I had thought about doing this before. So what I decided I would do, I mean, it's really not a big issue, right? It's a vintage. It's gonna look you know, weathered and worn and not perfect, right? So it really doesn't matter. But what I had thought about anyway, depending, like this is pretty fragile, and it's going to take some wear and tear at just being a cover of a journal. So what I thought I would do is put some Distress microglaze on it. I've had this in particular for different scrapbooking projects, or I mean kind of card making projects, I guess. So it's almost like a Vaseline consistency, and I'm just going to take my finger and rub it on here, and it's just going to coat it with a light coating of protective glaze. And you know, it might not make a difference in that little streaky look of the, so I'm rubbing it on. I'll do front and back, and then I'm going to buff it off with, well, probably, what have I got here? I think I have a baby wipe that's a little dry, so I think I might just buff it off with that. But it'll leave a little bit of a glaze on it. So I always have that handy. I like, if I put an image, even a digital image on the front of a book, I'll put the Distress glaze on it. So then you just buff it. So we're gonna do that, and it might not make any difference in the look of that streakiness from the matte medium, but we'll find out. It's, whatever the case, it's still protecting it a little bit, so let's find out. It did help quite a bit. It's got its own kind of sheen to it now. All right, so super excited about this. Getting there. We're getting there. All right, so then I picked this. Now I'm considering, actually it looks fine. I think it looks fine. This gold matches the gold of this perfectly right here. And I don't mind the sort of mismatched look. I think it looks good. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim this a tiny bit. And I think I'm going to do it the same way. I'm just following the line, which is super nice. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to ravel this up a little bit. I think I'm going to do it the same way, where I'm going to put some interfacing behind it. If you guys know me at all, this is really one of my favorite things to do, to keep things neat and tidy and sturdy. It gives it another layer of sturdiness. Oh yes, but before I put this on, I'm going to do this the same way too, by the way. I'm going to iron this on and then sew around the edge and then glue it down. But almost forgot my Tyvek, right? I wanted to put that on to give it one very, very thin layer of sturdiness. And so I'm going to glue this on first. It needs to be trimmed. Yep, as long as it just fits in there nicely. Let's see, I know one of these edges was crooked, and it's not going to matter at all. Not going to matter at all. All right. So, glue on here, because I'm going to be sewing the signatures directly onto this file folder spine. That's going to give it a little bit of sturdiness, and hopefully I got it small enough. Yeah, I think I'm going to trim it a little bit more and then scooch it over there. Now the signature strings will be sewn directly into that spine, and this Tyvek will also make it very sturdy. Okay, so off screen again real quick to complete this unit here, and then we'll glue it on. So I did get some signatures together. for you all. I also sewed some fibers onto the edges, so that's ready to go. It's not decorated. There aren't any pockets in here or tucks or anything yet, but lots of interesting pages. It has, let's see, it has 120 pages altogether, including when you include the fronts and backs, and it will be in there like this. And I thought I would just real quick sew one in with you and then finish the sewing off camera. So what I did was I made a template of how big my spine was. I marked the center and then a 1/2 inch on each side, and top and bottom I made it so that I'm sewing in 3 holes, and so the top hole is going to be about a 1/2 inch down from each, the top and bottom of the signature, and the center's right there. I didn't draw a line, but there's a fold there. You can probably see that. So what? And then I also with the friction pen that comes off with heat. It's removable. So I drew a line right down the center and then 1/2 inch on each side. So this I'm going to line up. This will be my first signature, and I'm going to line this up with that line and line it up top to bottom. Alrighty, and then get my clips. Oops, I dropped one. I remember dropping one. I better get another one out for you, or for me. Alright, and then I'm going to clip that there. Give it a nice push down the center of your signature, right side up. And then I'm going to lay this, I marked this as the top. I'm going to fold it on that line. I think I pre-folded it. It folded super easily for me. And then I'm going to crease that right in the fold and make sure it's lined up top to bottom evenly. And oh, I've got some pearl cotton here in orange. I've never sewn, I don't think I've sewn signatures in orange before, so this is fun. A nice bright orange I had in my stash. And I need to get this template in instead of clipped in instead of just holding it like this. Make sure I'm getting that all properly lined up. Okay. All right, and then you just take, this is 2 lengths of the book. I'm just going to poke a hole, whoops, use my awl, poke a hole straight down in the center hole like that, and then top, and then the bottom. So now I've poked a hole at each of these 3 intersections. And now I'm going to take my threaded needle, and I have to remove this before I start. And then I'll have to line it up in the middle as well and do each signature separately. So that's going in the center, and then kind of look in the back to see where your hole is. It's like, I know I punched one in there somewhere. Sometimes if I can't see it, I'll just poke it through so I can see the hole. And then remove it, because we need to come in from the back here, or from the front side. There we go. So you can see my signatures are going to be sewn in directly into the spine, and those signature strings are going to show on the outside. Alright, then bring it back down through the bottom hole, which will be easier to find. Just poke it right through. And then we're going to come back up and into this shared center hole. So I try to not pierce the thread that's already there. So I'm going to hold this kind of tightly off to one side, and then poke this down through that center hole. If you do pierce the thread, it's pretty easy to fix that. So there you can see, nice straight line. And then I'm going to make sure that one end of this thread is on one side of the long string and one thread is on the other side. Just tug at it a little bit. It doesn't have to be super tight, but tight enough not to like wiggle around so much. And I just did like overhand knot, I think. Alright, and then clip the extra string off. Sometimes people leave the strings long and put beads on them and stuff, and I've done that before. It's cute. It's fun. Alright, so there's our first signature sewn in, and we'll have 2 more here, and then I'll show you what the book looks like. Alright, here we go. So I also decided on a closure. I had some ribbon in my stash. I just went ahead and tied it around the journal. Couple 3 times looks like, and just simply tied. I might stick that underneath the signature strings, that way it'll keep it from getting lost. But anyway, so that's my tie. I sewed all 3 of them in, and just did my sewing. Like I said, it's not totally decorated yet, but it will be lots of fun to get this finished up. So I am super happy about that. I've got a couple more I could do. I didn't think they were quite as fun as the carrots, but they're still pretty cool, right? It's still pretty cool. So I'm super excited about that. My next similar method is going to be with the sewing pattern envelopes. So I have a couple of those, and I'm planning on getting those done as well. Probably not this week. Maybe I'll turn on the camera and get the sewing one done for with you guys too. Maybe that would be something I could do next. But anyway, I will be working on this. One of the reasons why I decided on this, I wanted to film a video. Cindy and I take turns. It was my turn. And I just had so many ideas running through my head, but the way I decided on what to do is I have all my ideas, maybe unfinished projects. I write them down on a slip of paper, put them in a jar, and then if I'm stuck or not motivated, I'll pull out something out of that jar and make it a determination to finish whatever project it is that I pulled out of the jar. So Cindy and I have an article in Tracie Fox's Rag. I think it's 17. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up and link that for you. But our article in there suggests ways that you could fix something or finish something that you've been working on, and so that's kind of why I got to this, and this will be another project that I will be working on as well. So anyway, so if you have a chance to read our article, that would be fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and take care, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, everybody.